This is Ethan from Kite Paddle Surf, and today we're going to talk about downwind foil boards, but with the purpose of using them for wing foiling. So recently I have been winging on a downwind board a few sessions. I've been really enjoying it. As we dive into this, I'm going to think about who is this for, who's going to want a downwind board using it wing foiling. I think that if you're someone who's looking for the best possible light wind option, if you have local light winds and you just want to get up and riding, a downwind board is going to make the biggest difference compared to a big wing or a big foil because they're so efficient with the speed they generate through the water. So for reference, I weigh about 165 pounds. My kind of daily driver wing board is a 58 liter board, and I went with the 85 liter option from Armstrong. Another thing to think about is I'm just getting into wing foiling. If I'm a beginner, can I start on a downwind board? And I think I would recommend against it. And the reason is that these boards are very skinny. So what that does is width leads to faster planing speed, but it really reduces that side-to-side stability. So I think if you're at the point winging where you're confident getting on your knees and not tipping too much, not tipping over, you kind of have that down, then I think you're ready. It might be a bit of a challenge, but you're ready to get on a downwind board. I think when people think about like big downsides for winging a downwind board, it all has to do with maneuverability. More swing weight in a longer board. It's harder, it takes a little longer to turn around. And I think that's valid, but at the same time, I think you gain maneuverability because using a downwind board allows you to use a smaller wing and a smaller foil. And I find that having a smaller wing when you're depowered riding swell does a lot for your maneuverability. Also, it's another thing to think of note is these foil tracks are way up the board. So I typically ride mine, right in the middle, around 7 or 8. And for reference, that's exactly where your back foot is, even a little farther forward where the traction pad says you should put your back foot. So it's really not too much board in front of you. So when you think about turning a board, it's going to pivot on this axis right where your back foot is. So it actually feels a bit smaller than it is for the length. The thing that it is definitely worse at than a smaller board is going to be pumping. If you need to catch up to a wave, but just kind of flat water pumping, it just has a lot more swing weight than shorter, smaller boards. So that's the one thing of note, but often, in light wind, you're just kind of happy to be flying while everyone else is, having an issue getting up. So this is the Armstrong Downwind board. The version 2 is out now, as well as a performance option. Really any downwind board you get on, if it's sized correctly, is going to do wonders for light wind winging. If you have any questions, leave them down below and I'll answer them myself. Or if you have any feedback on winging on downwind boards, we're always interested to hear that. And we'll catch you on the next one.